I called it Odds and Ends because I was just finding things that would, it's not like I had a whole idea around this show. I just picked up odds and ends and things that I wanted to work on. Making the crow and the crow's nest, and then adding the little wren-like bird on top, although it could be, I suppose, you might think of it as like a hummingbird because it has a long beak. A touch odd for this bird to be standing on top of a corvid's head. It's something you'd never see in nature, because that little bird would be eaten, of course, by the crow. I had the bird done for something else, and then it didn't work, and so I was looking for some other application with the bird. I liked the bird, but I didn't like the other part that I had done. And then a friend of mine gave me this apple, and I thought, it's a plastic apple. I mounted the apple on the post and mounted the bird on the apple, and I like it very much. I called it Today an Apple.
Today an apple, tomorrow
the world, of course.
Where are you from?
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
I love this straight on. You get more of a possession of the bird.
Yes.
Like it's delighted.
It's
today. I got
cowled
an
over,
apple. I got a big booty today.
Yeah. This one up here is Hector. Of course, I'm fascinated with the legends and the stories and things like the Iliad. And Hector was the great warrior of Troy, and was eventually slain by Achilles during that battle. With the help of Athena. Achilles may have been invincible, except for his Achilles heel, of course, and he was wearing magic armor. But still, he had trouble slaying Hector. And a friend of mine, Michelle Glazer, is a writer, and she has two little nephews, and they're twins. And she would tell them stories, and the idea of telling them stories at bedtime was to scare them. And so she would try to make up scary stories. And then at the end of the story, they'd always say, "That's not scary, Shell." This story here is one she made up. She said, "Do you know that in the town of Clandestine, Oregon, there are no little boys who are 6 years old or older?" And this is right on they're 5 years old and they're about to turn 6, so she's gearing this to their birthday. And she says, "Do you know why?" And they say, "No, why?" And she says, "Well, when just before you turn 6, the townspeople of Clandestine take the little boys out to the edge of town and feed them to the wolves. That they fly up from their bed. The chair is knocked over and the pillow is lying here because the little boys have been scared." And that was supposed to scare them, but it didn't, of course. Some of the Trojan warriors who had to escape from Troy when the Greeks were sacking Troy, Aeneas is one of them, and he ends up in Carthage through all sorts of, while Odysseus is going through the Odyssey, Aeneas is traveling around. It's been prophesied that he will found the city of Rome and found the Roman culture. He is directed to the city of Carthage on the north coast of Africa. Dido is the queen of Carthage. She basically has all the power, and she falls in love with Aeneas and wants him to stay. And he plays up to this because it gives him power, and it gives him a place for his men to rest while waiting for the next phase of their trip. He sneaks away in the night, and as they are sailing away in the night, he and his men, he turns and looks back, and there's a funeral pyre above the city walls of Carthage, and it's Dido who has committed suicide over her loss of his love.
How about this painting over here?
And this one here, I've entitled this Juno, wife of Jupiter. In the Greek myths, the Zeus is married to Hera, and this is the Roman saying. Basically, it's Jupiter is Zeus, and Juno is Hera, wife of Jupiter. Juno and Hera are both very dark individuals and visit all sorts of awful things on mortals that cross their path. I decided that this is sort of my sense of what Juno's soul is like, very dark. And yet depth, there's a lot of depth in it and a lot of color. Yes, I'm using shellac. I use shellac for most of what I do, but I also use acrylics to get more sophisticated colors than I can get with shellac. Shellac is a fairly, it's just not very sophisticated colors-wise, but it's wonderful to work with because it dries fast, it's alcohol-based. This is a lot of collage in here. There are pieces of paper and all sorts of things in here to give texture. And this deep blue is a blue with shellac is with blue tint in it, and then overlaid with acrylic to give it more depth and to give it a little more sophisticated range of blue. All of these are mixed back and forth, and you can go on with shellac and then go acrylic and then go shellac over that, and then you can put alcohol on it. Shellac is a very interesting medium. A nod to Lee Bontico, who was a 60s and 70s artist, and she did all sorts of constructions like this. Far more fantastic than this, but I thought it would be fun to do a Bontico-like piece. And so it's just a steel frame, and there's a dish made with paper and epoxy, and then this is all just old rags, t-shirts and stuff, and then again shellac. Shellac gives it this kind of a hard surface and makes it keep its shape. This is about 3 coats of shellac, and then with a lot of drying in between. And I needed to make a dish. This is basically concave because I wanted you to not be able to see anything beyond, from the greatest angles. I wanted you to see only black. In order to do that, though, I had to bend in both directions the black background there. And I said, how am I going to do that? And I finally took my wok off of the shelf and put it on my workbench, and made this backing is made on the back of the wok.
So what do you think of Steve's show?
Oh, it's very impressive.
What do you like
Amazing.
about it?
He's only saying that so I'll buy lunch for him.
It's so versatile. So many different mediums. And obviously affection for the classics.
So how long have you known each other?
Oh, high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We went to the same school that Barack Obama
Graduated from the same high school.
in Honolulu.
No. It's Punahou High School in Honolulu.
Yeah.